Hello everyone, it's Nathan from Books here. So in this video, I put together a graphic novel cover of Queens of Metal series that I had been working on. So I had taken all the portraits that I had been doing over the last couple of weeks and I put them all together in a single image. And as you can see, I'm drawing in their poses as if they were on the cover of their own graphic novel, which was a massive challenge, and part of this challenge is working with the vastly different perspectives of the portraits. Sharon is quite a low angle, whereas Alissa in particular has quite an extreme angle, and I had to go back over her design and her pose quite a lot to get it. Figuring out their characters' designs was done totally on the fly and was probably the most fun about this piece. So like Suzuka, for example, she's already got sort of this armor already, and so I lent into that, gave her the big spear and a giant shield with her BabyMetal logo on it. Once I had Suzuka down, I had this idea that the rest of them would be part of like a D&D typecasting team. So you've got Suzuka as like the warrior paladin, and then you've got Sharon as the mage in the back, and then you've got Taylor as the sort of demon slayer DPS glass cannon person, and Alissa would be some kind of berserker reaver character. And then storylines started forming in my head as well, why this team would band together and what their mission would be, and it would be a pretty fun graphic novel, but had to get the design down first. To get Alyssa's costume right, I watched The Eagle Flies Alone probably about 20 times just to get all the angles and see how that costume was actually put together, and it still was a real challenge with this extreme angle. Her costume has a whole lot of folds, and then there's the tassels and straps and all sorts of things that are wrapping around, and it's all the same color as well, so it was a real challenge to get that to read properly in that angle as well. As for Taylor, her reference photo for the portrait I had done really didn't have a costume that would work in this piece, so I had to make something up. So I came up with this idea of her being this demon slayer rogue sort of character. I knew she was going to have crossbows, dual wielding, but I didn't know what kind of design they would be, so I laid down just messy line work to keep the shapes in place. And Taylor often wears thigh-high boots or stockings with the short skirt thing, so I designed something that was akin to those sorts of costumes and would read true to her real-life character as well as this character that I was designing. This piece was definitely an exercise in layer management, which I don't normally look after too much. I actually like working with single layers as much as possible. I tend to collapse layers or flatten the image as much as possible. I usually have like a different layer for the subject and for the background, but other than that, I tend to try to keep it as few as possible. I kind of see digital painting like sculpting with clay, I guess. So pushing shapes into what you want, carving away the ones you don't, with an eraser. I think it works a whole lot better with as few layers as possible. rendering in everything was a lot of fun to get them all sort of fitting in with each other, figuring out where the shadows were and how the light would interact. This sort of foggy atmosphere as well, tried to keep them really in their environment. And once I had designed Taylor's crossbows, I needed something for Alissa, and as you can see, this lion is something that I painted a long time ago, and I wanted to see what that would look like, so I just threw that on top. Cheated a little bit by getting the dimensions from that, but I turned it into a tiger. I thought the Alissa White tiger sort of spirit animal thing would work really well. I couldn't figure out what kind of weapon to give Alissa, especially for her pose, and if any of you know much about Alissa, you'll know that she's a staunch animal activist, and so I thought, yeah, she'd have some sort of spirit animal as her weapon. And a giant white tiger looked awesome with her roaring, sort of matching that design. But then the rest of her costume, I still wasn't happy with it, and part of the reason is that it's very monochrome color, and because of the angle of it and the sort of extreme position that she's in, it was hard to read what was going on. So I looked at some other costumes, and I found one that she wears. It's like a rib cage, it's like a sparkly black rib cage thing, and that looked really good to break up some of the lines and the colors so that you could read it a little bit more. And then it was just a matter of rendering it in like the others, putting in the big heavy stitches on the thighs and bringing the hair back and figuring out the rest, big boots and all that sort of stuff. This piece was a lot of fun, and of course there's so many female metal singers out there that I could have included in this that kind of made me want to go back and redo some of it, or do some more, add to it. But maybe part of the storyline is, obviously, I've only got one of the BabyMetal singers here. Maybe Mo has been captured by some sort of other evil singer. Maybe Maria Brink or something has captured her, and that's why this team has banded together to go fight her and, I don't know, Amy Lee or something. But maybe that's for another time. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, got something out of it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.